See if I can get my hair to behave. Work with me a little bit here. All right. Welcome, everybody. How are you guys doing? Everyone on TikTok, welcome. We are getting everybody tuned in from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Going to give this a minute for people to tune in before we go ahead and get started. And if you guys could, in the meantime, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. Want to make sure my technology is on point. All right, Melanie, welcome. See a bunch of people here on TikTok. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't actually see your names. All right, good to see you guys. Thank you. I am going to try not to break everything. Sorry. We have a bit of an echo here on volume. Oh, okay, that fixed it. All right, very interesting. All right, so again, I want to give this a couple minutes for everybody to tune in. We're going to have people here tonight from Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. If you're having trouble on one platform, go ahead and switch on over to another platform at Ask Ivy. Or on YouTube, we also have, is it DelRey Astrology?
Astrology Simplified.
Astrology Simplified. Okay, Astrology Simplified or at Ask Ivy. All right, there we go. So we got a few people. And can I get a thumbs up that the volume is good and the video is good? All right, welcome Jill, Brittany, Bethany, Melanie. Good to see you guys. All right, I want to make a couple quick announcements. So Christina DelRey, our astrologer here at Roots Revival and at the Ivy League Psychic Academy, is offering her astrology course again. If you guys have not taken her astrology basics in the past and you've been waiting on this, you've been waiting a minute. What has it been, Christina? 3 years? It was just COVID.
We did a COVID series, but that was it.
Okay.
So it was like right at the very beginning of COVID.
Well, I'm addicted to it. So I've taken your class, I believe, 3 times. And I know that there is so much to learn in astrology. I'm probably never going to get there. And I appreciate your wisdom and expertise in this field. But I mean, if you guys want to get started and start getting really deep into some of the basics of astrology, you're going to want to check out her astrology basics course. And I believe we're going to be releasing like one video at a time starting in the next month or so. All right. So check it out. Also, Reverend Christina also teaches tarot, the traditional and intuitive method here at the Ivy League Psychic Academy. So that is now up. You have 2 different pathways to learning. So you could do a tier 1, tier 2. Check it out. That's up on the website as well. All right, then we have coming up Open Circle. You guys remember this? I did this for so many years, once a month. And then right before COVID, I stopped. $10 Open Circle is back. July 16th, you can join us in person here at the headquarters in Dunkirk, the 1800s Victorian Funeral Home. Or you could do Zoom. So you're going to want to go onto the website, ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com. That's above or below, depending on where you're tuning in. And go ahead and reserve your spot, reserve your seat. I will be taking walk-ins. I'm sure we can fit everybody here. And in the future, I would like to actually get down to the beach, which is about 2 blocks from here, and start doing some open circles there. Okay,
I'm so excited. I'll be there.
Yay! I know. I have to get the mattress set up for you so you could stay the night, maybe. So we also have coming up my psychic mediumship course. Okay, my PEC method, the psychology of energy communication method, unmatched internationally. If you want to train, become an Ivy League reader, work for the call center, all the events that we do. Registration is now open. The fall semester starts September 12th. So check that out. Then my symbology book. Those of you who've been following me know that I'm obsessed with symbology, dream symbology, mediumship, symbology and astrology, tarot, everything ancient, archetypes, psychology. It's all really the same language, numerology, even. It all links. And I enjoy this topic thoroughly, probably more so than anything else I do. So I have a symbology book coming out. If you want to get on the early bird waitlist to get that book, you can leave your email address in the comment section and we will put you on that list. If you don't want to do that because it's a little too public, I don't know, we'll concoct something. Okay, just say I want it and we'll try to reach out to you. But Mairead, our beautiful producer, is very busy, so I can't guarantee that. Mairead, our producer, will be taking your questions, your comments throughout the service, as well as your prayer and healing requests. We do ask that you please give a lot of energy to the comment feed. It helps to boost us in the algorithm. We appreciate donations as well. And if everybody could right now, give this video a thumbs up. Feel free also to subscribe here on YouTube or TikTok. We are Roots Revival Interfaith. We focus on the three truths in the universe. That is astrology, numerology, and intuitive intelligence. I'm your pastor, Ivy Rivera, psychic medium. I'm also a Taino Arawak, and we are here today with Reverend Christina DelRey, our astrologer. Reverend Danny Johnson, our numerologist, is on a 1-year-long spiritual retreat, so we hope to have her back soon. Today, we are talking about dating and spirituality. I am so excited for this topic. And we are an interactive church, okay? So again, post your questions, post your comments, and start giving your prayer and healing requests now. We will get to them at the end. So I'll get started, and then I will shift over here to Christina, our astrologer, and she'll speak on this topic. So dating and spirituality. How to date within universal alignment. It's not that easy, and it's really very simple to do it wrong when you live in a society like America, where things are very, very quick. It's all about instant gratification. And there's a ton of codependency in our culture. Not healthy at all. And the relationships that we tend to feel we need the most are often quite toxic for us because we haven't been raised up properly to understand balance and reciprocity and also appropriate timing on things. So I'm going to be breaking this down into 4 different categories. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about how you know when it's actually the right time for you to go out and start dating. And then Christina will be talking about this from an astrological perspective. So number 1, and I'm going to break this down by myth versus truth. So number 1, the myth is that if we are single, we're naturally supposed to be dating, that it's even unhealthy to not date. You're going to turn into crazy cat lady or candle lady. I'm fine. Lots of us are. We're fine. But that pressure to find someone quickly to replace the last person or to make sure that you have company so that you don't somehow get strange or too far out at sea is a complete myth. Okay. The truth is that we should only be reaching out and trying to bring someone into our life when the timing is right. So it's not just when you're single. It is really about the contract that you have with this other significant individual. We don't want to be dating anyone off the streets. We want to make sure that there is a contract between the two people. And that always has to do with time. That has to do with deadlines. That has to do with the things that you're supposed to do together, growing, learning, building, healing, whatever it is. So often what we find is that there is really nothing there. Okay. We want to understand that the people we're supposed to be with will automatically create meaningful experiences in our life, and that we will also be able to do the same for them. And if it feels empty, it's probably because it is. So don't just do it because you can, because you're single. I also just wanted to say on timing, and we have a free mini class here on YouTube up in the mini class playlist. Something about myth busting. Is there such a thing as wrong timing? I don't believe there is such a thing as wrong timing. I believe that the universe is always in perfect alignment. However, we can find that we didn't do what we were supposed to in our growth, in our lessons. And because of that, we meet up with the right person and it seems like it's wrong timing because one or both people are delayed in their growth, in their development, and then things don't fit as they were meant to. So there's no such thing as wrong timing. Check out that class. But there is absolutely such a thing as us not being ready. And we don't want to blame that on the universe, like it's some kind of cosmic mockery, against us. It's possibly your fault or it was their fault, right? And what we need to make sure we're doing, especially when we look at love and in regards to perfect timing and all of this, is do the self-work, do the personal development, focus on you. We're not supposed to be focused on other people all the time. And I often get asked by people, why is it, Ivy, that you don't consider relationships so much? And why is it that you aren't afraid to set boundaries or leave things that aren't working? And why is it that, when you talk about building, you talk about it from an individualistic perspective? Because that work is not meant to necessarily be done with everybody else under the sun. I'm not reaching and grabbing at people all the time to help me accomplish what I'm supposed to accomplish. When you focus on yourself and what you're here to do and your life contract, the rest will fall in alignment when it's time. So we want to also, let's look at number 2, and these two sort of, fit together. The myth is that if my life is messed up, if things are out of order, if I'm not in alignment, what I need to do is find the right girl. She'll put me in alignment. She'll help me get my shit together. She'll help me to straighten out. So there are some psychological terms for that. This is typically men who latch on to women and have historically believed that if they get the right woman, then they will, start to mature. And women have also fed this, right? This is a problem within the patriarchy. We feel obligated to help some guy who's got his donkey in a ditch all the time, but women do this too. I'm not saying it's, one gender or the other per se, even though there's been more history with men doing this. I think that it's important, if you are this kind of person, to look into the research, the psychological studies done on this, and ask, why is it, that I do that? Because the truth is that if you are out of alignment, the people you attract are going to be out of alignment. It doesn't work that way. So, you needing to get your life in order is not something that someone else is obligated to do for you. And when you are putting yourself out there dating, you are naturally, due to law of attraction and manifestation, going to attract a lower level energy. It's also possible that you will attract people who want to take advantage of you. For being out of alignment, you read as being susceptible. So you could attract narcissists, sociopaths, abusers. Be very, very careful putting yourself out there at a time in your life when you really need to be working on you and your stuff. Okay. The other type of person you could possibly attract is someone who doesn't care that you're out of alignment, right? It doesn't matter to them. They don't have staying power anyways. They don't really plan on being there long term. So it's pretty irrelevant to them. I would recommend checking out, we have a free mini class here on YouTube up in the playlist called Reaching the One. And I have a full version of this up on the website as well, a 2-hour training on Reaching the One and the different exercises you need to go through before you can attract someone that you're worthy of and they're worthy of you in a higher vibration. Number 3, I think it's important to understand, there's sort of this myth that if we keep looking, if we keep digging for a quality person, for the right kind of person, that they are, out there. And I think especially where we are right now, it's tough out there, ladies. Okay. In particular, very, very tough. And this has a lot to do with the falling of the patriarchy. So the truth of the matter is that men are being rattled right now. They have been for several years. It's only going to continuously get worse for them. So as we see the patriarchy dying, we see men throwing temper tantrums. Any guy who can get his hands on a microphone has a podcast where he's bashing women. He's trying to get women back in the cave. And there's a lot of infantile behavior with that. From the problems that they created, they've shot themselves right in the foot, and they don't want to accept that and grow. Now, there are men who are taking the lead and who are grasping the bigger picture here, that it's time for change. But women have really had enough. Okay, so as the patriarchy dies, men tend to be throwing more and more temper tantrums, and so we're looking at a problem finding men of value. Future generations, hopefully, we'll start to see this come up, but all previous generations being raised in the patriarchal, toxic system don't have much to offer. So we see 82% of women are not interested here in America. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. But here in America, 82% of women are not interested in a committed relationship with a, straight guy. So celibacy rates are also climbing. And I think it's important for us to examine that as an option. And that's going to be number 4. I'll get into that in a minute. And I also find that there's this phenomenon going on. I think anyone who's out there dating would notice that since 2019, apparently there's this full-blown phenomenon that Christina actually clued me into, where younger men are dating older women. So we're seeing men in their 20s dating women in their 40s and 50s and 60s. So what we've done is basically to pretty much wipe out the straight men who don't know how to respect women, and the pairings are going in a very different direction than what they ever have. The younger generations get it. And this is what the older women are looking for. So plenty of fish in the sea in their 20s, ladies. Okay. But because of this, we need to sort of give up the knight in shining armor, the idea of what that was. While we were raised to believe that he was out there, he may not be in the way that you think he is. Okay. And I think we need to expand upon what that means and look at alternatives. Now, number 4, I want to say that, the myth here is about sex and dating and spirituality, because we tend to believe that if we don't have it, it's unhealthy in some way. For, again, sort of like just being single in general for extended periods of time. But what I'm finding is that the truth is a lot of people have hypersexuality and they're using sex for comfort. Sex isn't always about, the orgasm or coming together with somebody else. It's often about filling a void. And we're seeing this more and more, where it is quite possible that it is a great time for you to be celibate. Work on your spirituality, even through your celibacy. Go on that journey and see what that's all about. Wait until it's meaningful, if that's what feels right for you. Or if you're just, using it for the physical sake, that's one thing. But I think it is really important to stop using it to fill voids. Ask yourself, if you are feeling so much that you have to date, or you have to find somebody to have sex with because you are lacking some kind of fulfillment in another area of your life, mentally, physically, energetically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever it is. And see if there aren't alternatives to you getting those needs met. This will help you to stay in alignment with the universe as you're dating, and date more appropriately. Okay, specifically. I also want to talk to you guys real quick before I switch this over to Christina. If you guys are tuning in late, Okay, post your questions and comments. We appreciate any movement in the comment section. It helps to boost us in the algorithm, and we are an interactive church. So we will be taking your questions and comments at the end. Also, if you haven't already done so, post your prayer and healing requests. We'll be getting to them here in a bit. So, signs that it's time for you to be dating. I would say number one, you're having premonition dreams. You're having dreams about somebody else. You may not see them exactly as they're going to look in this life, but it's very possible they are coming to you as the person they were in the last life that you had together. So, past life premonitions or visions or even astral travel, time travel with this person. But if someone is showing up in your dreams, and this may even go back, okay, some of you may have started dreaming about someone very specific when you were younger. Pay attention to who has shown up in your dream state. Number two, past life visions. Could it happen at night? Absolutely. It could also just happen when you encounter this person, or as you're coming closer to a period of time where you're going to meet this person. You may think it's your imagination, but you're starting to have almost like deja vus, past life flashbacks, and you're seeing someone very specific. It may also start coming up in your astrology. So if you get an annual astrology chart with Christina, she will always pinpoint. I'll go in to see her for a work chart and she'll be like, oh my God, there's love coming in. And I'm like, where is this coming from? But it's invading and she just knows. Okay. So be prepared for that. That may coincide with the visions that you're having. Number three, from a numerology perspective, seeing the number two in patterns, following you around. That is a number about teamwork. A lot of people think, oh, that, I'm seeing the number two, this is my soulmate coming in. This is my twin flame, which is a total myth. Okay. See our class here on twin flames, how it's nonsense. But, could it be? It's possible. I really tend to believe, though, when we're seeing the number two, we are entering into a period of our life where we're leveling up. And usually right before you level up, you have a huge detox. So if you've just gone through a period of time where a lot of people have been removed, situations have been removed, your circumstances have been changing, you're about to enter into this level up. And with that comes soulmate energy, but also people from your soul tribe or people you have contracts with, people you're supposed to be working with. Okay. And that could be a great time to start dating, even if it doesn't feel logically or emotionally like it is. Okay. That's when there's a lot of movement. All right. I want to move on to Christina DelRey, our astrologer. Reverend Christina, what did you want to say on this today?
I am out of practice because my notes are everywhere. So I'm just going to jump in.
Good.
So we talk about, timing. I think what really struck me about what you said was if you're out of alignment, then you're going to attract people who are also not in alignment. They're not going to be good for you. And I think that that's really important to realize that you have to be the highest version of yourself and true to yourself. If you are lying or like anything is just not in order in your life, you really shouldn't be bonding with somebody else until you feel you're at a point in your life where you can. Now, when I had, a really traumatic end to my marriage, I could not date for a whole year. It was like I had to go in, I had to do the inner work, I had to get strong, I had to meditate, I had to connect with spirit, there was so many things I had to do, and I was having a Saturn block at that point. But Saturn was telling me, you have to do the work and it'll pay off later. So, and that is really what happened. So once I did all that work and I just, I didn't even look at a guy for a year. I was not interested at all. I buried myself in my work and my children, my family. But once that was over, a lot of times too, and you're not going to get a soulmate every time, it's just not going to be. And you might want it to be. You might meet somebody and be like, oh yes, I want this to work, and it's not working. And you're like, I don't get it. He's perfect on paper. You know what I mean? And I feel this certain way. And there may have been a contract there of some kind, but it might not be a lasting contract. Once the karma is fulfilled, they might be on their way. And, we tend to fight that too, because it's not what we want. But the universe is going to bring you the people that are meant for you, but you have to stop fighting it. If you're like, no, I want this guy, you know what I mean? Like well, then the universe can't bring you free flowingly what you need. So you're blocking yourself. So you have to really look to see what blocks am I putting on myself, as far as timing goes, because the universe knows that there's certain times when somebody's going to walk in, and we have the free will to take advantage of that or not. And you could let a soulmate pass you by. Mm-hmm. You could come in and you could say, well, nope, I'm focused on this over here. And then but it's wrong, it's not working out. And then that experience passes you by. And then, it's like 10 more years before somebody else comes in. And that is a distinct possibility. So you have to just pay attention, I guess, is the biggest thing. Pay attention, do the work on yourself. And also, too, another thing, too, I think that we focus too much on what society wants for us instead of what's good for us. So, maybe the relationship that comes in is not what you were picturing. Maybe it's coming in a slightly different package, and that's okay. Especially once you get to a certain age, you really have to know what you want. You have to, you're not looking for the same thing that you did when you were 20. So you have to look at that as well. But, pay attention to, if you're looking for somebody with good character, well, then you better have good character. If you're looking for somebody who is supportive, well, then you better be supportive. If you're looking for loyalty, honesty, well, you better have those things. You better put those things out, because they're not going to come to you unless you're putting them out. And if they do come to you, they're only going to come to you for a short time before that person figures you out and is hitting the highway. So, whatever you think the universe is depriving you of, you're depriving yourself of that. So you have to, you're depriving the universe of that. So if you think you're being deprived, you're depriving the universe. So you have to really self-reflect when it comes to that. There are a few times in the astrology chart when love comes in, and particularly that has to do with the nodes. When there's nodal contact, those are big times when love comes in. There are certain people, when you put two charts on top of each other, and you look and you see, okay, the nodes are activated. There has to be more than just one connection. Typically we look for three really important connections, but then that this is a person who, and especially if Saturn's involved, the nodes are involved, this is a person who's going to stick around. There's karmic lessons here. There's possibly past life situations here, but also lessons in this life. So, you can look at all of that with astrology. Another thing too, you were talking about, let's see. So one thing that I have learned in my farther up years here is to go after what you want. I remember wasting so much time in my life because I was waiting for some guy to notice me. And, and just, looking for that patriarchal princess story where the guy's going to come in and he's just going to notice me and think that I'm beautiful and, and sweep me off my feet and everything. And what I've really learned to embrace is my Lilith in my chart. And my Lilith is telling me, you know what? Go for what you want. You know what I mean? Say it, voice it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But you know what I mean? You didn't waste the opportunity. I can't tell you how many times I had a breakup with a person I've never dated because in my mind, I was so focused on them and they didn't notice me. So my advice to people who are asking today, how do I do this? Well, first of all, you can't be shy. You can't play that, that we're in a woman's revolution right now. we just really, I mean, we're really in a civil revolution, for civil rights, and all of that happened during COVID. And we're finally celebrating Juneteenth. I have tomorrow off because of
Yay.
Juneteenth, which is great. And now it's time to focus on women a little bit more. And we are having our own revolution because, the patriarchy is dying. So women are stepping up, and women have to become brave. They have to become warriors, and there's just no way around it. So you can't be afraid. You can't run from your lessons. You can't run from this. You have to be, you have to be forward. You don't have to be a jerk. You don't have to be like, you don't have to be obnoxious. But you're saying what you feel. We're not taking a back seat anymore. We're just putting it out there, what we want. And if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, great. You know what I mean? It was an experience. And that's another thing too. I think we get too attached to this patriarchal idea that we have to find the one, get married, have, however many kids, and then we have to stay with them forever because there's no parting. Mm-hmm. And that is not how life works, at least not when you live past 25. So, it's like we have to change that idea that just because you have a relationship for a short amount of time, that it wasn't as good as the one that was for, 25 years, because quality over quantity every time. And that is how you're going to resolve karmic lessons and follow your life contract. You're not going to follow your life contract trying to make a 25-year marriage work when nothing's left. That's just how it is. And our ancestors did that because they had to. That was survival. Our parents did that, and we saw how badly that went for most of our parents. So yeah, we have to change the face of marriage. We really do. I think, let's see. Sorry, I have so many notes.
Oh, we could do like 3 parts on this.
We really could.
So and that like full on occurred to me, like as Spirit was giving me the curriculum, and I was like, or the sermon, I was like, this is never going to fit. So
I know.
And we can today, and you guys go in the comment section and let us know if you would like to hear a part 2 or even 3 to this sermon and what you would like to see it be about,
And I do want to touch on too, I know that you talked about this in your notes for me for the class, that women, and this could be a whole nother class in itself, but women are suffering from immunodeficiencies.
Yes.
At an accelerated, epidemic rate. And this really has to do with the fact that the woman's role hasn't really changed. It's just added. It hasn't subtracted.
63% of women who divorce see their immunocompromised situation, their immunodeficiency reversed or like finally in check for the first time. 63%.
Yeah. And I really,
that's the problem.
Yeah. And I think that that's because, women are taking on way too much, every single detail, and we can't do it all, and we can't do it all alone. We just can't. So I think that is even like a whole nother section, but yet still related to this as well. Yeah. And it's also, and when related to that too, women are expected to sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And it's just expected because it's always happened that way. And what are we teaching our children when it comes to that? So you have to really teach, especially your daughters, but your sons too. You have to teach them that, this is a new world for them. They have to, partnership looks different now.
That's right.
I'm looking back at what you said. Yeah, I would say, like you said, keep, how like the myth about keep digging. I really believe that you shouldn't dig. You can go on a dating website, that's fine. See what is brought to you, and then interact from there. But you can't be like, well, I can't find anybody, like it's like, okay, then that person wasn't for me. Move on, moving on. Let's go, and maybe that person will be a friend. I'm friends with a lot of guys that I had like one date with. So, I mean, you met that person for a reason. Yeah. And then like women shouldn't be expected to get a guy together either. Like the guys should come in together.
Yep.
Or, you know, maybe you both have things to work on. I'm sure you both do. So maybe you support each other in what you have to work on. But it's not the woman's job just to, you know, swoop
Bring in another
and,
child.
yeah, like it's not our job. And as far as sexuality and sex, physical sex, it's interesting because I do feel like this generation coming up really focuses on the physical and not an emotional or depth of connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a real, that could probably be a whole nother show too. That is a problem because now it's just become something to do.
Right.
And it's not like, you know, it's not the sacred experience it was meant to be. So it's not to say that, like, you know, not to say that two people have to be in love to have sex. Not what I'm saying, but I'm saying like the act itself is a sacred act. So when you're sharing your energy with somebody like that, so if you are just doing it just for physical reasons only, and you don't care who you're with, or you know what I mean, and there's no boundaries on it, that is concerning for, you know, the future generations and how that's going to work out. Because, you know, that is one thing that you should have sacred in a relationship, where it's sort of special between the two of you and brings you closer and bonds you closer. So if you're just doing that for physical reasons only, that is a concern.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, and the one about how you said you're supposed to date. Well, you're not supposed to date.
No.
You're supposed to date when you're ready. So if it takes you,
and maybe not even when you're ready,
and maybe not even
ready, and it's still not in alignment with the universe. You don't have a contract, so all you attract are these duds.
Yeah, and I think that there is, you really have to sort of meditate on what the universe is going to bring you to, you know, and what you're looking for. It doesn't hurt to put it out there into the quantum and, you know, let the universe bring you the person. And also, you know, you don't just settle for anybody either. You know, I mean, if it's just okay, you know, I mean, that might be all right, but don't act like that's the one if it's not the one, you know. Like, don't just settle.
Yeah, don't settle. And I think too, don't make that person believe that maybe they are.
Right.
Maybe it's like they're dying to be there with you, and you're manipulating them into thinking that it's something more, and you're really just looking for the next better thing. You know, that's going to come back onto you. That's negative karmic kickback. It's not okay to be complacent, just staying in a relationship as a placeholder. That's a human being. Have some respect.
And unless that, you know, unless you're communicating that and it's
right,
both sides are okay with that, you know what I mean? Then, you know, that's a different story, but you wouldn't want to, you know, like, cause like you said, the karma, cause all that stuff comes back to you. So whatever you're putting out, it's going to come back threefold. So yeah,
interesting.
that's what I got.
Were those your points? Okay. I'm like, I have 50,000 more I want to play off what you said, but I know we don't have too much time. So I'm just going to say a couple quick things. So when Christina says, you know, you're not going to get a soulmate every time. We have to be realistic that there are a lot of different kinds of contracts out there. And she and I did a class together that's here on YouTube up in the mini class playlist called The Reality of Relationships. Mairead, our beautiful producer, if you could put that in the comments section, The Reality of Relationships. And Christina and I talked in depth on this topic. So we're not going to get into it a ton tonight, but yes, you can't expect a soulmate every time. And sometimes you're going to get a soulmate and they're not doing what they were supposed to do before they met you anyway. So it's going to fall apart. You can't force that to work anyways, but you should not dismiss other relationships that are lesser than that. You know, because they're not lesser. Just because they don't last as long or they're not as passionate or they're not as in depth, it doesn't make them of any less value. And it doesn't mean that you can level jump and just skip right on over those and go for the soulmate. A lot of my clients are extremely stubborn in saying, I'm not going to date anybody. I'm not dealing with this anymore until it's the one. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Okay. You have some that are like, you know, friendships and and other levels. We get, I believe, about 5 to 6 different soulmate options over the course of our life. It's up to you to pick one of those that's really highly functioning. We hope one is, but that doesn't make others a waste of your time.
Ivy, 1.2, I was thinking, because the universe will often bring you a practice soulmate before they bring you the one. So if you are denying everybody, you're not going to know who's who. So there's often, especially like when Pluto is going over that descendant, a lot of times you'll be sent a practice person. There's other times too, but and then you'll be brought somebody else. And sometimes there's 2 practice. And then there's so you have to really watch. You have to meet the person where they are, and don't discount that relationship. Just like, Pastor Ivy said, make sure that you are learning your lessons and, making that person, giving that person something too. It's not like it doesn't have to be horrible. No. It just might not be the one.
So funny. A friend of mine is on her 3rd in a row. And it's the 3rd practice one in a row. And I said, did you go to Christina? Have you gotten your annual chart? Do you know what, maybe she can give you more specifics, because all I can say is I see a soulmate coming in and he's going to have X, Y, and Z about him. Well, they all have X, Y, and Z about them, but it's not a fit, not a fit, not a fit. And I'm like, but look at the pattern that you're developing here. So this is what I said to my friend the other day. Don't panic about it. Don't try to hold on. Don't grasp. You can't control anybody anyways, but you are seeing a pattern. They're almost the same identical personality in a different meat suit. I said, it's calming. You just have to understand how these things work. It is exactly like practice and alerting you. It's like wetting the palate. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. And I feel like, people think that that's not valuable, but it is. It's very valuable, because whatever lessons you're learning there, it's going to enhance and get you ready for the one that's coming. And, like you said, you can't hang on. You can't grasp onto these things. But that's one of the biggest things for me, is like making peace with, okay, I am very happy with the time, whatever time we have together. I can't hold on to it. If it's meant to go, it's got to go.
And if you try to hold on to it, if your entire relationship, you're panicked over losing the other person, I can almost guarantee self-fulfilling prophecies are somehow going to come into play, because manifestation, law of attraction, like what your thoughts are, the energy you put out, you create. You don't mean to. You're trying to create the opposite. You're trying to make it last. You gotta let that go. People will come and go. Life comes and goes. The seasons come and go. It's okay. That's all there ever is. We have been brainwashed into believing something more than that. That's the patriarchy. That's capitalism. That's religious systems. It's a con. It doesn't exist. It's a myth. Let it go. Enjoy the ride.
It's been I think that's been my biggest lesson in life. And I know you've tried to teach me that since I've met you. But that has been my biggest lesson in life, is to not hang on too tightly, because you know what? Change is the only constant in life.
Ooh, there's some truth. I got goosebumps. Yes. And I'm obsessed meeting up with Christina when I start to see that I'm getting involved in a dating experience where there's a lot of karma. And I'll be like, okay, I want a soulmate, but like, there's a lot of karma. I know I have a karmic contract. So I've gotten on this new kick since I'm back on dating sites. Bumble, ladies, you can filter better on there, but still it happens. And I will go to Christina. We did this recently a few weeks ago. And I said, I am having some kind of reaction to this guy I'm dating. I feel like he's going to yell at me all the time. I said to him, are you angry with me? Or, do you have a bad temper? And he said, I don't fight with anybody. He said, I'm a Taurus. I'm a lover. I pull away if I get angry. And I said, it's true. I've never seen him act like that. Why is this nervous energy here? And we had all kinds of crazy synchronicities. And so I said, I suspect he was like an aggressive parent or a toxic ex-lover. I go to Christina for the past life chart to look at the South Node, our history together. I tell her nothing. And she found 4 different hits in just one spot of the chart where we had been siblings. He had also been a toxic, abusive husband. He had been an abusive, controlling father to me. I mean, it just went on. And we're looking at this situation as validating everything I knew. And, then at that point, we had to look at the North Node. Is there a potential for us in the future? But the bottom line is, in this life, the roles are reversed. He's supposed to be taking guidance from me, and he will not do it. So having a chart with her helped fill in the blanks for me and allowed me to see clearly, okay, I'm not imagining any of this. It's very intense. It can suck me in and take up a year or more of my life, I'm sure, or I can let it go and say, what?
That was the most past lives I've ever seen in a chart.
And we didn't even look at them all.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So sometimes you just have to get an expert's perspective on it. Look what's written in the stars for you guys. And it can help to give you that assurance that even though it's really, really hard to let somebody go, this just isn't the right time. Okay. So fascinating. All right. Anyways, I'll fall down a rabbit hole on that one. But I do want to say to everybody, okay, if you're tuning in late, please do give this video a thumbs up at this time. Subscribe. Donations to Roots Revival Interfaith are always appreciated. And at this time, we are going to take your questions, your comments, and if you haven't already done so, post your prayer and healing requests. All right, Mairead, what do we have for questions? All right, so we have from a Cami on TikTok, a prayer request. Oh, are we getting into prayer requests instead of questions and comments? Let me just wait to hear back from her before we do that. Okay, so Mairead, do we want to get into prayers instead of questions and comments? Okay. Okay, sure, we could do it in reverse. All right, so I want to encourage everyone to join us at this time. The more we pool our energy and intentions together, of course, the more healing we're going to see and manifestation. All right. So we thank you, Spirit, for being with us always and for continuously guiding us, whether we listen or not. In our lives, we know that we can count on you when we come to you. I ask that you help everyone joining in here tonight or later, whether it be through the podcast or watching the video, that you help them to hear and see your guidance clearly. Our first prayer request is from a Cami on TikTok. Prayer request for my brother, Brian. He's bipolar, schizophrenic, and struggles with drug addiction. Prayers and healing for Brian to get the help that he needs, to be willing to receive it, and to help him stay on a healthier path going forward. Okay, our next prayer request is, so Mairead will just have you continuously pop these up. Okay, from a Paul on TikTok, prayers for my grandmother. She was sick and in the hospital. Okay, prayers over his grandma. We ask that the doctors, the nurses, the medical staff are skilled in giving her the healing that she needs and protect her going forward as she heads home. Our next one is from Shauna Flint. Prayers that I find a place to live soon that works best for me and my girls. All right. Prayers over Shauna's residency, that it work out for her quickly and efficiently, and that she has peace and happiness, tons of pleasure and good times in her new home. Our next one is from Danielle on TikTok. Prayers that I find a new job soon. Prayers over Danielle's job search. We ask that the right position is brought to her, crosses her path, and that she is mindful in recognizing it, accepting it, and that this process is more efficient for her going forward. Our next one is from Bianca. Prayers that I receive rental assistance. Okay. Help for Bianca financially from rental assistance, but also from other areas that she may not even be aware of. Help her to receive the assistance she needs and to not have to worry about this going forward. Next one is from a Brittany. Prayers for a home for me as well. Prayers over Brittany's residency, that she can find a secure, stable place that helps her as a stepping stone as she goes forward, that this is an efficient, quick process for her, and that she can get some good sleep and rest and have peace of mind going forward from here on. Okay, that's all for prayers. And I guess, are we at time, or are we doing any questions and comments? All right. Looks like we may be wrapping it up, or I guess we do. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that. We're back, you guys. We've been out of this a minute. Okay, I think we took all of May off, actually. So bear with us. So we do have a question here from Brittany. Do you need their chart to know if you had a past life with them? Well, I'll let Christina answer that, but like, I, as a psychic medium, know when there's past life history. So what I do, Christina and I play these little games. And one of the things is to find it on your own. I'll go inward, I'll pay attention to my dreams, past life flashbacks, and I'll reach out to my Akashic Record Guide. So if I do that, by the time I go to Christina, I already know what it's going to be. I just want to see if she could prove it in the planets, because it's really fascinating. And sometimes I just need that peace of mind to make sure I'm not tied up in my imagination, okay, or fearful thinking. But I think it really helps a lot. Christina, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I think both is best, because I don't know, there's just something about having that confirmation. Like, I'll look at the chart, I'll study it, I'll know it, then I'll say, okay, Ivy, give me a past life reading on this. And then she'll give me a past life reading, and I'm like, okay, makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like you need that other little piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that you can put the pieces together and figure out the best you can what you're supposed to do in this lifetime.
Yeah, 100%. We have another question. We are at time. Okay, so we are going to have to cut off questions and comments for this week's sermon, but we have packed a lot into this 1 hour here with you guys, and we appreciate you being here. Again, if you want to hear a part 2, I could even see this turning into a part 3 sermon series. Go ahead and put that in the comment section below, and we may be taking a look at any questions that we didn't get to today and even rolling them into the next one. So Christina, our astrologer, thank you so much for being with us. And I do just want to give you an opportunity for a final word, if you have one, and then I'll give my final word.
I would say my final word, work on yourself, and the rest will come.
I would say don't push it. If it's something that you feel that you have to force, that is a huge red flag, and it only goes downhill from there. Understand when dealing with people how to allow them to be on their own path. Don't overreach. Do not enable, and do not try to come from a place of ego, which is fear, manipulation, and control, versus faith, and try to concoct something, type of relationship that forces you to be like a puppeteer. Okay, let it go. If it's not working, it's not working. Allow yourself to communicate with the other person what it is that you need and expect. And if they're not able to deliver it, they're not able to deliver it. Okay, be at peace with that, and allow for the universe to send you someone who will. All right.
I love that.
Right. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Also, Mairead, our beautiful producer. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will see you next Sunday, Roots Revival Interfaith, here at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Have a great week.